Alright guys, spring is around the corner. We've got a great collection of spring fragrances here. A lot of new stuff that you probably haven't heard about, but some great fragrances that are going to be perfect to wear this coming spring. Find out what they are coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Sebastian, talking to you about spring fragrances from the niche and luxury world. I only have one designer in this video. I think it's one designer, yes, looking at it. The rest are niche houses, some luxury, a lot of very moderately priced niche fragrances, and some indie fragrances here as well. But all awesome smelling fragrances. I wanted to put together a list for you guys that are featuring fragrances that are not very widely known about. So I just wanted to give you guys something fresh stuff, newer stuff. So let's get started with the list. It's a top 21 list. This is from the house of Juliette Has a Gun, ex Vetiver. You'll also notice in this list there's going to be a lot more freshy takes on fragrances, but I wanted to do a nice balance of fragrances that are perfect for spring. This one, it does have a very fresh presence about it, ex Vetiver, but it has a little bit of depth with the woody, grassy Vetiver note in the dry down. So it's Vetiver, Ambroxan, lemons, bergamot, and musk. Really great fresh take on Vetiver, and even though a lot of folks might associate Juliette Has a Gun for more of a feminine house, this to me is a really great release. Very fresh smelling, citrusy Vetiver fragrance. So that's ex Vetiver from the house of Juliette Has a Gun. Then we're going to the house of OJAR for a bit more warmer fragrance. This is Solar Flare, this one right here. So this is a honeyed fragrance, but it doesn't act very thick and syrupy, so it's something you can wear in the springtime. But it has pink pepper with honey, of course. There's patchouli and mandarin, heliotrope, honeysuckle, musk, vanilla, and osmanthus. Really smells great. A bit more mass appealing than the fragrances that we're familiar with from this house. But it's a great solar take on spicy, woody, earthy, floral notes. So that's Solar Flare from the house of OJAR. Then we're going to the house of JARDIN RETROUVE, a bit on the daring side here. This is VIOLETTE, this one right here. Look at the violets on the back here. Beautiful artwork. So this was recently featured in a Scent Club mystery box, and I really love the way this smells. It's a bit old school with the violets. It's really in your face with both the flowers and the violet leaves, but there's also some cumin in here, sandalwood, and cardamom, and I think it's a great fragrance to wear in the springtime when we don't have very hot weather. There's some coolness still, but a little bit of warmth, and I think this is a great fragrance to wear. Again, it's a bit daring, it's a bit spicy, a little sweaty, and very floral and ozonic with the violet leaves and the violet flowers. That's JARDIN RETROUVE VIOLETTE. Then we're going to the house of Soul of MAKEEN. This is NINAWA. NINAWA is a great smelling iris fragrance, a really wonderful take on iris with lots of musk. There's white floral notes, linen, clary, cardamom, cedar, and sandalwood. Very smooth and powdery, a bit musky as well. I like the spicy effect that's thrown in with that overdose of iris or orris that's in here. It's a bit buttery, but for sure really super sexy wearing. And a great alternative to something like Dior Homme Parfum, but not smelling identical, just the fact that this has the notes of orris or iris in the fragrance. NINAWA is a great fragrance. This house definitely needs to make a presence in the States. I'm hoping they would start selling their fragrances here in the States very soon. Alright guys, next up going to the house of BARBA. This is a brand spanking new house for me, but I fell in love with this very astringent, citrusy, lemon verbena take on the Vetiver note. Vetiver with Cypriol, and it's a really wonderful fragrance. Springtime, when it's still sprinkling and raining outside, it's a great time for some warmth and a bit of wet, cool rain. I think it's a great time to wear Vetiver style fragrances, and this one has a lot of Cypriol in addition to Vetiver. And Cypriol is a kind of an earthy, woody, grassy kind of a note that's kind of a cross between a little bit of the earthiness of patchouli, other woods, and of course Vetiver as well. So this is all here with patchouli, Hedione, cedar, oud, and oak moss. and it smells really, really great. And again, I think this is a perfect fragrance to wear when it's not necessarily very cold outside and also not very warm. And if it's raining, I love rainy weather with vetiver fragrances. Something about the dampness kind of brings out the qualities of this kind of grassy, earthy note of vetiver, and of course Cypriol as well. So that's Jan BARBA AIYOKU is the name of the fragrance. Then we're going to a fragrance that I kind of forgot about, but when I reviewed the fragrance, I thought, wow, this is really, really nicely done. This is from the house of Zoologist Perfumes. It's DODO, the Jackfruit edition. Not the original where it's sweaty and musky. This is more of a fougere style. Really, really fantastically done. It has jackfruit, tonka, lavender, turmeric, geranium, sandalwood, vetiver, and a lot of other notes, but it's kind of a fruity take on a modern, paying tribute to a classic barbershop fougere fragrance. Very unusual, but very delicious. Nothing like the original. Very modern, as I said. It's got the lavender, which is typically in fougere barbershop scents, and of course the tonka as well. But then you have jackfruit, which is a strange fruity note, and other things coming in to create very fantastic fragrance. If you haven't tried this one, do try it. It's DODO Jackfruit Edition. Really wonderful fragrance. Then we're moving to a house called Perfumer H. This is Rhubarb. This is a fragrance I discovered when I was in London last year, and I bought this at Liberty London, where the brand had put these fragrances out with a bunch of displays and things like that. Really fell in love with their simplistic kind of looking presentation, and the rhubarb is so super delicious. I love anything rhubarby. It's a bit vegetal but also very fruity, and this is definitely present here. The fragrance has notes of red fruits with lemons, orange flower, there's rosewater, juniper wood, atlas, cedar, and vetiver. It smells fantastic. It's called rhubarb. I'm assuming there is rhubarb note, unless they're creating a rhubarb accord with some of the other notes in here, but it's quite fruity, fresh, fun, and woody. I highly recommend this. I believe when I bought this, the woman at the counter told me, or somebody told me along the way, that they are launching at Bergdorf. So I think they're selling these at Bergdorf's now. So this is Perfumer H Rhubarb. So up next, going to the house of new notes. This is Akigala Mandarino. Let me know if you're familiar with this. This is a fragrance we featured in a mystery box late last year. This does remind me a little bit of Ganymede, but it's a citrusy take on Ganymede. Just think of the Ganymede DNA. It's got Akigala wood, which is present in a lot of Contretemps fragrances because he's a Givaudan perfumer, and Akigala wood is a proprietary ingredient. So this is probably created by a Givaudan perfumer. Or maybe they're using the ingredient. I thought it was a proprietary ingredient for their usage only. I'm not 100% sure, but it is full-on Akigala wood with amber, mandarin, orange, jasmine, lily of the valley, freesia, raspberry, and apple. So it's fruity, it's fresh, it's woody, it's minerally, and super sexy and musky as well with that Akigala wood. Really wonderful offering, Akigala Mandarino. Let me know if you're familiar with that. And then we're going to the house of Une Nuit Nomade. This is Nothing But Sea and Sky. Nothing But Sea and Sky is a great skin scent. Very woody, very creamy, very musky. It's just a really great, close to the skin, cozy fragrance that's not very intrusive, not a lot going on with it. Just a very smooth, creamy, milky sandalwood with a few additional musky notes and things like that thrown in. A little bit of citrus as well, and it's a really, really fantastic fragrance. It's for those days when you're lazy, you want something nice, or it's something that you want to sit in front of a fire, sipping on something and maybe reading a book or watching television. It's really, really that kind of a fragrance. Or if you like, cozy fragrances that you don't want, to fill a room and stuff with, this is the kind of fragrance you would wear. So it's Nothing But Sea and Sky from the house of Une Nuit Nomade. Then we're going to the house of Bon Parfumeur. It's Iris Cartagena. This one right here. This was also in our mystery box late last year. And even though I did a video with the owner, I wasn't really fond of it. This has grown on me so much. I really, really enjoy it. I love iris in fragrances. It's quite powdery here, but it's got gourmandesque notes as well. We've got cacao, we've got rum, we've got coffee, in addition to vanilla, vetiver, sugarcane, cedar, and petitgrain. Really classy fragrance, really elegant. Not necessarily kind of going way gourmand. It's kind of balanced out with all the other notes that are present in there. I would also say I featured this in a mocha mousse fragrance fragrance, Pantone's color of the year. You've got the coffee and also the cocoa or chocolate touches in here, which is perfect to feature in that kind of a video. If you haven't caught that video, please do. This is Bon Parfumeurs Iris Cartagena 502. Then we're going to the House of Blender Graphie. This is Jasmine Martini. Remember I told you I have some new stuff here that I haven't spoken quite a bit about. This fragrance to me, I fell in love with. It's my second favorite from this house. It's a brand new house called Blender Graphie. All fragrances inspired by cocktails. This one's inspired by a martini, and they've meshed it or blended it with jasmine note. It's quite musky, guys. It's a bit on the daring side, animalic, so be warned with this one. But I am so addicted to the way this smells. It's super fantastic. I think it's perfect for the spring weather. There's notes of olives here, wine leaves, jasmine, gin, pink berries, lemons, juniper, grapefruit, ISOE super, leather, and ambroxan. Yeah, it does get animalic. It does get musky. The jasmine is the indolic type, and so you've got to be warned. But if you like that sort of thing, check this one out because it's super, super sexy. It's tolerable for me. There's some animalic notes I can't tolerate. This one's super fantastic. So this is Blender Graphie Jasmine Martini. Let me know if you're familiar with that one. All right, up next, going to the House of One Day with Taipei. Recently, I had a sniff session clients come in here, 2 together, and we were going through some fragrances and they wanted some different things and they had interests that were not very similar to other people. So I pulled this one and they instantly fell in love with it. This is a great fragrance, so unusual. It's a savory gourmand, and so it's focusing on rice. It's soy milk, rice, taro, guaiac wood, iris, musk, vetiver, and sandalwood. To me, it acts like chips. So if you like the smell of chips like Doritos and things like that, you're gonna want to smell this. It's so good. So unique, so unusually delicious. I love it. It's a gourmand that is not sweet, so it's savory, as I said. And this next one from the House of Balmain, this is Celle d'Ambre. I told you this is only the only luxury designer house in the whole video. I wanted to make it mostly niche, but this is created by Quentin Biche, and I really, really love the way he's created this. I like the muskiness in here. It's amber, olibanum, ambergris with tea and orris. My kind of fragrance. It's a bit daring, very sexy. It's not as loud as I wanted it to be, but as a smell, it's super fantastic. And again, it's springtime, so it's a bit warm. It's a bit cool at the same time. This is definitely one of the best from this house. Absolutely love it. So this is Balmain Celle d'Ambre. That is at number 9. Then going to the House of Thomas DeMonico. This is Sol Solgado. This one right here. And this one has turned out to be a really great fragrance from this house, and definitely a note that's fairly underrated. Linden Blossom is featured here, and I've fallen in love with this note about 2.5 years ago, and I can't get enough of the fragrances that feature this note. Here, it's In Your Face Linden Blossom with mimosa, salt, sandalwood, smoked vanilla, ambergris, skin musk, heliotrope, cotton flower, accord. Again, it's powdery, it's floral, it's a bit green and yellow at the same time because of the linden blossom note in here, but you've got that smoked vanilla, so it's a bit sweet, it's a bit musky, and of course powdery as well, because heliotrope has that kind of almondy effect, because there's definitely almondy present here. But a really gorgeous floral fragrance, very spring-like, because some of the notes that are in here bloom in the springtime. So this is Sol Solgado from the House of Thomas DeMonico. Then we're going to the House of Kilian Paris, or is it by Kilian? What is the name of this brand now? I'm a bit confused. This is Old Fashioned, and even though this is a boozy fragrance, I think they're utilizing some more naturalistic notes that are more herbal and, ingredients that are grown to create a boozy accord here. They're creating a whiskey accord with Wheat Absolute, Immortelle, Davana, Tolu Balsam, Styrax, Cedar. Really fantastic fragrance. I can't believe how good it is. I'm so happy with this fragrance. It smells super delicious. It's boozy to the max, but very herbal and aromatic, and just reminds me of a cocktail that I'm obsessed with. I think it's become my favorite boozy fragrance from this house. They have a lot of boozy fragrances. They do boozy fragrance as well. This might even be a top 5 boozy fragrance now. I absolutely love it that much. I can't believe how good it is. This is Old Fashioned from the House of by Kilian. And up next, going to the House of Maison du Roc. This is Ylang d'Or, this one right here. So Ylang d'Or is a fragrance I fell in love with last summer. Instantly loved the way this smells. It's a bit tropical, it's a bit beachy, but full-on tropical floral notes of ylang ylang. Jasmine sambac is here as well, along with tuberose. There's Timur pepper, Sichuan pepper, pink pepper, woods, and musk. Really, really great fragrance, really long-lasting, really bright and yellow floral notes, but with the white floral creaminess in here as well. And it's drying down to this musky, slightly ambery, woody experience. It's a delicious fragrance. It's like vacation in a bottle. It's almost like you're at a tropical destination and you've got all of these flowers in bloom and you can smell them. Really fantastic that way. Ylang d'Or. Great fragrance from that house of Maison du Roc. This next fragrance is from the house of Bohoboko. This is Jasmine White Leather. So I featured this one here because I think it's still tolerable. I've got two jasmine fragrances here actually. Really great smelling jasmine fragrances that go in different directions. This is a leathery jasmine and very unusual leather smell that I'm addicted to. It's so fantastic. This is featured in our latest Scent Club kit, by the way. And again, I think people discovered it and thought, wow, I've never smelled anything like this, because I've received some messages from you guys saying this is a love and you weren't even aware of how great it is. But it's white flowers, jasmine, white leather, cloves, lavender, patchouli, tonka, vanilla, cedar. A lot of great things happening in here. It's very different for a leather fragrance. If you're used to leather fragrances like Tuscan leather, ombre leather, things like that, this leather smells nothing like that. I hope you guys get to try it because it's really superb. This is Jasmine White Leather at number 5. And then go into the house of Al Jazeera. It's Patchouli, this one right here. Now remember, I was trying to put fragrances that are perfectly appropriate for springtime. Some might be a bit more intense than others, but this one actually I think it's great. The transitional season, it's perfect spring and or autumn fragrance, and I really, really love the way this smells. It's super sexy. It's different than any other patchouli fragrances. It's a bit honeyed. It's a bit green. It's got some spices in there. Warm spices, cold spices, or fresh spices. There's sandalwood, musk, and vanilla in the end as well. Created by Olivier Cresp, who created the Angel, the original Angel by Mugler. If you like that vintage fragrance, you might check this one out because there is a reminder of that. But to me, this one also reminds me a little bit of L'Instant de Guerlain Pour Eau Extrême. This is one of the best patchouli fragrances out there on the market now. Al Jazeera Patchouli. Let me know if you're familiar with it. Up next at number 3, we're going to the house of Reine de Saba with Reine Makeda. I think Reine Makeda is a perfect spring fragrance. It's got a lot of musky notes here. We've got cashmeran, we've got ambrette, we've got musk, but a lot of white floral notes as well, along with ozonic violet leaves and some vanilla and rose for one fantastic, super sexy, musky floral fragrance that is the best from this house, I think. It's really, really great. If you haven't tried this yet, please do. If you like musky fragrances that have a great projection, but not super cloying and, you know, suffocating, this is definitely one for you to try. It's created really, really perfectly by the perfumer Anne Flippo, and definitely my favorite from the house of Reine de Saba. This is Reine Makeda. That is at number 3. And I'm featuring this one here as well, Mousse Illuminée from the house of Rogue Perfumery. I've been speaking about this one quite a bit lately. I absolutely love it. I've rediscovered it since we featured it in the Scent Club kit. I've been speaking about it since 2019 when I first bought my bottle. Oh man, it's such a great fougere fragrance, so different once again from other fougere fragrance. There's a green booziness here, but there's also tree moss, frankincense, cypress, artemisia, laurel, cedar, white flowers, and white musk. If you like a totally different take on a fougere, but really fantastic fragrance, try Mousse Illuminée. The original, not the Absolute, because I don't like the Absolute as much as I like this one. This one, one of the best fragrances ever created. It's fantastic and deserves to be here at number 2, because my number 1 is a floral fragrance from the house of Maison Crivelli. It's Tuberose Astral. I wanted something to end the list with, something potent, and this is definitely that. Compliment getter for sure. Really wonderful compliments with this. Super sexy with cinnamon, tuberose, osmanthus. There's carrot seeds here, cistus absolute, musks, and vanilla. Really great projection, fantastic longevity. Super sexy, as I said, compliment getter. I can't get enough of the way this smells. And I think tuberose is perfect for spring. So this is Tuberose Astral from the house of Maison Crivelli, and that ends the list for my top 21 spring fragrances. Let me know your thoughts on these fragrances. Have you worn them or have you been eyeing them? Put a comment down below so we can all find out. But either way, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. And I wanted to end the list here with a bonus option. I know this is a fragrance that I worked on, but I wore so much of this during the warm months in August in Europe, and it smelled great. So in the springtime, I think this is also going to smell great. This is 54 from the House of Juice box. If you haven't tried it yet, please do. It's a patchouli focused fragrance, but it does have a milky, lactonic, chocolatey, spicy effect here. So for me, on the dry down, it becomes milk chocolate on skin with a bit of tobacco touch, along with that earthy patchouli. But it has patchouli, cinnamon, pina colada, rum, so it's boozy, it's vanillic, it's creamy, milky, chocolatey, fantastic fragrance. If you haven't tried it, please do. This is 54 from the House of Juice box. I think it'll smell great in the springtime. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.